Hello everyone, welcome back to American Populist. And today I will be discussing how to keep your state red and keep blue state refugees out. A topic I found pretty interesting, and a nice distraction from this whole Afghanistan fake domestic terror events happening recently that I will not be discussing today. I will instead be discussing this topic. But first, before I do, hit that like button, subscribe. I always appreciate it. Help me get to 100 subscribers by the end of next week. Come on, I know you can do it. Anyway, back to the topic for today. Keeping your state red and keeping blue state refugees out. Another term I would like to use for this is called fortifications. We all know what that means on the right, and we learned that in 2020, that term fortifications. And that's a term we need to use a lot more, and we need to fortify our states against the left. And it is especially important for our more important states that are growing a lot. But I will be getting to that shortly. Over the past few years, especially during the coronavirus craze, conservatives in blue states have been fleeing to red states because of policies enforced by blue state politicians, from gun control to taxes, coronavirus restrictions, liberal indoctrination in the schools, and moving to conservative states like Texas, Florida, Idaho. What many other elected Republicans don't understand, however, is the reverse of this occurrence is not only possible, but as well it's imperative. And he gets into some background of how we actually do this. And there are many important policies we need to do in our states right now, which we have full control over. And another one I will just get right off the bat is not follow Brian Kemp and all these other Republican governors welcoming Afghan refugees that helped our military. No. We don't owe Afghanistan a fucking thing. We don't owe them any more than we've already given them. Nobody owes them anything. America does not owe them a citizenship or a place here because they helped our military. And that is an example of helping the left fortify our states against us. That is the example of what not to do. And here's an example of what to do. Ban mask mandates and passports. We all know why. There's many great reasons for that. Another great thing we need to do in our states is form an entirely new statewide curriculum. And it's well known the schools and colleges are far left and communist for a long time in right-wing circles. This has been known and discussed by us, the more intelligent and more affluent in these topics on our circles about this kind of stuff. And almost on the periphery of the mainstream right, they discuss this as well. But we need to take it a step further. And it's time we need to fight back. And the way we do this is obviously ban indoctrination in schools, which we have complete control over. Florida did this. I believe Idaho also did this by banning critical race theory, which is just leftist, Marxist indoctrination. It is not enough to attempt our legislation to ban this from schools. This is a temporary band-aid, ripped off by the propagandists, who will find loopholes in laws. We must form an entirely new curriculum that is pro-family, pro-nation, pro-Christianity, and pro-America in our states. Texas has done a great example with their pro-Texas education that they put forward. This needs to be in every single red state. No excuses. Unacceptable if your Republican governor or state legislator has not. You need to email them and tell them to pass this, as well as ban vaccine mandates, passports, all the others. Another thing, banning puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. That's just obvious. And you have Bill Hutchinson in Arkansas who tried to veto base legislation exactly to fight this. And he got called out immediately for his ridiculous, insane behavior by none other than the Democratic Party of Arkansas, which is more based than he is, which just goes to show you the kind of governors we have on our side. ban trans athletes, obviously. Another very important one. As we saw in 2020, we saw the fortification, obvious, we saw all the irregularities, I'm not going to go into that. We all know how YouTube is on this topic. I will just say, though, Georgia's bill did not go far enough. Headed in the right direction, but we need way more tougher. I like Montana, Idaho, Florida has done pretty well on this. Florida has one of the greatest and pretty secure election systems in the country. A lot more better than it was in 2000, I will say. Much better than some other states like Michigan and Georgia. I wonder why. Brian Kemp, traitor. Another reason, social media censorship. If we can't get our ideas out there in the discussion, then nobody will hear them. And most of the conversation today is online. Obviously, 90% of the conversation is online. Mainstream, the big tech corporations, the social media are the new public town square. And this has been obvious for a long time. And the left has been bragging about how they have complete control over this sphere. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis tried to do this, but it did not go far enough. It needs to go way farther. It needs to protect us, have our First Amendment rights protected online for conservatives, to bypass these ambiguous rules that can be twisted and manipulated to ban us whenever they feel like. And it needs to change. Another thing we have not been talking about is zoning laws. And the suburbs, of course. That's another topic. But during the Barack Obama administration, HUD, under the 2015 affirmative further family housing, which is basically affirmative action for suburbs, because they're just too light and they need to be more diverse. Obviously, we know the true agenda of this, and it needs to be stopped. And it's insane that this has not been banned by every single red state. Unacceptable, needs to be done now. Another thing, limit the amount of property investment companies like BlackRock can buy. I recently saw a tweet that pointed out that at the current rate, with the average wage that an American makes, it would take them 21 years to afford a 20% down payment on a house. Unacceptable. This aids the left in many ways other than just property that Americans own instead of elite foreign corporations. This hurts. It delays families, forming families, community building, many other reasons why this hurts us in the long run, as well as it does now. And helping us become a nation of renters. Block refugees, obviously I discussed that in the beginning. Banning porn. The last point I will get into before we end this, and probably a very important one. Porn needs to be banned. The research on this is pretty clear. It rewires your brain to make you more degenerate, more accepting of other sexual ideas and orientations. I wonder why they would want you to do that. As well as it lowers your testosterone, making you more weaker, making you more, just agreeable and just go with the flow. This is obviously a crisis designed to hurt us, men. The main Republican base in this country, the reason why this country still has a chance. And it's a well-known fact that over 90% of this country is addicted to this, especially young men, who can access this at just a click of a button. It's unacceptable, and there needs to be a statewide ban on this. I don't care about the First Amendment, a libertarian argument. Oh, it's free speech, man. No. This hurts us so severely that it goes beyond that. And furthermore, that the argument doesn't even apply. Obscenity is not a form of the First Amendment. The Supreme Court ruled on this many times before. It just needs to be banned in red states, every single one of them. We need to take this more seriously. And this article goes over many great points. I would highly recommend, after you've done this article, read it. It's done by Vincent James' site, Dailyveracity. I highly recommend it. And I will leave you off with this last statement for today. We saw what happened in 2020. We all know what happened. And we can do the same thing in red states. We just need the will to do it. I'm American Populist. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe.